All right, so today is the second part of 8.5 and it's talking about complex fractions. So before we get into all of this, let's just talk about what this means. So if I have a fraction, before I start throwing variables in at you, we could say that like 1/3 divided by 4/5 could hypothetically be written as 1/3 divided by 4/5, right? Okay, so that's essentially what we're going to give you. So they're going to give you this type of problem, and you're going to have to make it like this, and then of course you would multiply by the reciprocal, right? So this would be 5/12. Okay, so these two right here are the same thing, they're just written a different way. Okay, so and in all of your higher level math classes, you start seeing this a lot more. Okay, so the first problem, it starts simple. First, let's talk about the steps. It's work the numerator and denominator if needed. So this is when, we'll get to that. Keep, change, flip, and treat like it's 8.4. Okay, so you could rewrite this as 2/x divided by 3y, right? That's essentially what that says. So we're going to keep, change, flip, and that gives you, multiply straight across, nothing cancels, so you have 2y over 3x. And guess what? You get a break from the restrictions. This lesson, they don't ask you to find the restrictions. Yay, you're welcome. Okay, so this one is a little bit different. So we need to have one fraction in the denominator. Okay, one fraction in the denominator. So first we have to combine those two. Well, if you remember from the last unit or last lesson, we learned how to add these. So we have to get a common denominator. What will the common denominator be? Well, it looks like xy. So in order to do that, I need to multiply this times y over y, and this times x over x. So this gives me still x on top over, and we're going to have another fraction. Since it's one big fraction, we can just write xy, and then this would be y times 1 is y, and 1 times x is x, so y plus x. So now that we have one fraction or one denominator, it's all one fraction on the giant denominator, so that's good. Now we can do the keep, change, flip thing. So you're going to have x times, multiply by the reciprocal, xy over y plus x. And then this is going to be this is a whole number, that x is a whole number, so it's going to be x over 1. Okay, now go ahead and multiply it. Looks like nothing cancels, so you're going to have x squared y on top over, distribute the 1, would give you y plus x. And that's your answer. All right, this one's a little bit trickier. You have to do it on both the top and the bottom. So we want to have one fraction on top and one fraction on the bottom. Can't have two. So let's go ahead and get a common denominator on top. Again, that's going to be xy. So this, you're going to multiply this times y over y, and this times x over x. So I have y plus x squared on top. And on this one, what's the common denominator going to be? Well, it's going to be y. So I'm going to have to multiply this by y over y. So I have that first one plus 1 times y gives me y. All right, now we're ready to multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to have y plus x squared over xy times y over 1 plus y. the y's cancel, and we get y plus x squared on top over x times 1 plus y. Sometimes you might see them distribute it back out. I'm okay if you do want to distribute back out, or if you just want to leave them separate, that's okay too. So that is your answer. All right, let's do another one. Oh, it's getting harder. That's okay. So now, take your time. Let's talk about the top. What is my common denominator going to be for the top? Well, it's going to be x times x plus 1, right? So it looks like on this side, I need to multiply it by x plus 1 over x plus 1. Here, times x over x. So this one is going to take more work. That's okay. Distribute on the left, or FOIL. So that's going to give you x squared minus 2x plus x minus 2. And then I'm going to multiply on the right. So 2 times x would just give me positive 2x. And of course, if we were subtracting, we would have to distribute a negative, but we don't on the top part. Looks like we do on the bottom part. So keep that in mind. Okay, so before I go ahead and clean that up, let's just go ahead and take care of the bottom. So the common denominator is going to be x plus 1 and x minus 1. Yes, I could multiply that out because it's difference of squares. It would turn out nice, but I'm hoping eventually something will cancel, so I'm going to leave it factored out for now. Maybe a little bit at the end if I want to put it back together, I can, or not, that's okay too. So it looks like on this I need to multiply the left side times x plus 1 over x plus 1. And on the right, I need to multiply it by x minus 1 and x minus 1. And I cannot forget the negative. So let's not forget that. Highlight it so maybe it'll help me. So we have now, let's go ahead and distribute. So that would be 3x, oops, what am I in green? So 3x plus 3 minus parentheses, because I'm going to distribute the negative later. 1 times x is x minus 1. All right, now this is quite the mess, but let's clean it up. So let's start at the very tip top and clean it up. And I'm going to write it separate too, with a division sign in between. So it looks like we have x squared, negative 2x plus x plus 2x would give me just positive x, right? Okay, and then we have that minus 2. On bottom we have x times x plus 1. I'm going to leave that factored. Okay, the big denominator on top we have, I'm going to distribute so that becomes plus, negative, positive. Actually, let's do that in a different color. So let's do this in green now. So negative, positive. So we have, looks like 3x minus x, so 2x. Positive 3 and positive 1 gives you positive 4. And then of course over x plus 1, x minus 1. All right, let's keep going. So now let's factor out the top. So what adds to be 1 and multiplies to be negative 2, well that would be x minus 2 and x minus 1. Then looks like this, you can factor out a 2, so you get x plus 2. All right, now we're ready to multiply by the reciprocal of the second one. So we're going to have x minus 2 and x minus 1 over x times x plus 1. Times, we're going to use the reciprocal. And there we go. Now let's cancel. Let's see. I see a mistake. I just had to go back and look. So right here, you've probably already spotted this. This should be a positive 2. So this should be a positive 2. Let's go ahead and fix that. So that's a positive 2 and a positive 2 right there. All right, now I'm ready to cancel. I was like, wait a second, not enough stuff is canceling that I thought I would. So this and this cancels. This and this cancel. And so that's it, right? So it looks like our answer is going to be on top, you're going to have x minus 1 times x minus 1, or you could write x minus 1 squared, or you could FOIL it out. I'm just going to leave it like that, over 2x. And that's your answer. Alrighty, one more of these complex fractions. So what do you think the first step's going to be? We haven't really had, okay, so these are already one fraction, right? This is one fraction divided by another big fraction. Okay, so that's done. So what do you think we're going to do? We haven't done it, so let's factor. Yes, factor. Hopefully you thought that. So now this becomes x plus 3 over x minus 3. That's difference of squares, so x plus 3, x minus 3, over, looks like you can just factor out a 3, so x minus 3. So you have a choice now. You can cancel out these two right here if you'd prefer now, or wait. I'm just going to wait. So I have x plus 3 over x minus 3, and I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. Then cancel, so cancel, 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 cancel. So you get for your answer, looks like only a 3 is left on top, and then an x minus 3 on bottom. Look how nice that cleaned up to be. All right, so one last problem on the notes. This one is not a complex fraction. This is more like the adding and subtracting, what we did yesterday. So let's, I just do this kind of refresh because you do have some problems like this on your homework at the end. And yes, we're going to find restrictions. So yay, because the problems on the homework ask you to find restrictions, if I can spell. Okay, so let's do it. First thing we need to do is factor everything out. So it looks like this becomes y. Factor out a y, so that becomes y plus 5. Factor out a 4, y plus 5. On that one, can't factor out anything. Okay, so what is our common denominator going to be? So it looks like it's going to be 4y times y plus 5. All right, what do I need to do to this first one? It looks like I need to multiply it by 4 over 4. The second one looks like I need to multiply it by y over y. And the last one, don't forget that negative, looks like I need to multiply it by y times y plus 5. Y times y plus 5. Okay. So let's do the first one. That gives me 24. The second one gives me positive 3y squared. And the third one we're going to have minus, and then parentheses, because I'm going to distribute the negative in a bit. And I'm going to go ahead and multiply it out. So 1 times all this is just going to be all that, and all that gives you y squared plus 5y. Okay, distribute that negative. This becomes plus, negative, and that becomes a negative. Okay, clear it up. So you have 4y over y plus 5. And this would give you 3y squared minus y squared gives you 2y squared minus, okay, so we have negative 5y plus 24. Okay, can you factor it? So what adds to be negative 5 and multiplies to be 48? I'm just going to save us some time. It is unfactorable. So that is unfactorable, which is good because that means we're done with that part anyway. So our answer is that, but then also don't forget the restrictions. Remember I said that was coming on these. So x cannot equal, so that each piece equal to 0. So, and actually you can just look right here. So 4y equals to 0, so x cannot be 0. Oops, sorry, we're talking about y's, my bad. Change that to a y. Y cannot equal 0 or -5. All right, that is it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day.